So we need to reflect a little bit on the risk that other leaders have taken on our behalf and caused us to be able to enjoy what we enjoy today. The founding fathers of this union, when they started organizing CSEA and organizing members, classified employees were at-will employees. So you could be fired for signing a union card. They normally worked 6 days a week without overtime. Sick leave was nothing that they had. They had no retirement. The hook that they used to use to get people to join the union was they had a funeral fund, right? People were more, at that time they were organizing workers, people were concerned about having enough money to be buried, right? Not about living and educating their children, but did they have enough money to be buried? Can you imagine the day we said, we got a funeral fund, you want to join CSEA? They look at you like he's crazy, right? We talk about medical benefits now and all these other things that we can provide. We don't talk about a funeral fund. So, since this is January, I'm mindful of one of the greatest leaders our country ever had, that's Martin Luther King. His birthday was celebrated, and that's a guy who risked his life, and it was taken for a movement of civil rights. But not just people of color, people of low income, people who were discriminated against for religion or race or creed or their income. And he was a leader in a lot of things. He believed in universal health care and wanted to see it happen back then. He believed that union workers had the right to strike for better wages. And he was assassinated on a weekend when he was down there in Memphis helping some garbage workers strike. Now they're called sanitation or recyclers, but then they were garbage workers that worked on the back of a truck lifting garbage cans all day long, getting paid very little. Most of them were uneducated, poor, people of color. And before that assassination, he had participated in a march against the Vietnam War. How many veterans we have in the room? Raise your hand. God bless you. And he's been interviewed about taking a risk and taking a position that might not help his cause. You know, there were questions as well, taking an unpopular position against what some people might think could damage your cause, could cause you not to be able to raise money, could cause you to be distracted or taken away from what you're trying to do. And we were fortunate enough to visit the Martin Luther King Museum in Atlanta with Clyde Rivers, past president, as a personal tour guide. And in the room where his caisson is kind of his life story all around the room. And I had read this article when I was there. In Riverside, I tried to paraphrase it, and a dear friend of mine, unbeknownst to her, actually sent it to me without her knowing I was walking around talking about it. I want to thank you, Cindy, for sending it. And at the end of this article, it focuses in on what a leader has to think about when they make decisions or take positions. And Martin Luther King, this is his quote. It says, "On some positions, cowardness will ask the question, is it safe? Expediency will ask the question, is it politic? Vanity will ask the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right?" And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular. But he must take it because his conscience tells him it is right. Listen to your conscience when you make decisions, brothers and sisters. More often than not, your soul will tell you what is right. It's nice to think that you want popular. It's nice to think that you're making a political decision. It might be nice to take the safe way out. But nobody ever said the labor movement was convenient or safe or popular. So when you make decisions as executive boards and chapter presidents, you might be mindful of this. While you alone sometimes have to make the decision, don't make the decision alone. Count on your brothers and sisters. So How many of you got the new Focus magazine? Probably hadn't gotten to check your mailbox, y'all up here messing around. I only got mine because I stole it off the coffee table at headquarters. I borrowed it. But when you look at the focus this month, I'd ask you to pay particular attention to the President's message. Not because I wrote it or had something to do with it. It's about what's in there. Because it will tell you the story about what we're going through right now. So now that I've piqued your interest, I expect email responses from everybody that said they actually read. Because I know who's in here. I know where you live. You got your phone number, your email. But just to touch a little bit on it, your board of directors is trying to do something about it. They are tired or sick and tired or sick and tired of being tired. They're fed up with the way that we're being treated in the workplace. Yeah. We're tired of the way we're being treated in Sacramento. Yeah. We're tired of the way we're being treated in Washington, D.C. Yeah. We're tired. We're tired of it, and we're not going to take it anymore. And we're going to do something about it. One of our first steps, and y'all are going to see a little bit later on about our organizational goals, one of the first steps we took as president was look at the goals of this organization and our plan for the next few years and said, we got to focus. Because this organization, when they have focused, has been successful every time. When they raided our pension funds, we got together, we gathered more signatures than any union in the coalition, and we were a union half this size at that time. We gathered more signatures than we had members. Right? And we turned the tide and we amended the Constitution of the state of California. This union did that. Right? When the governor had the 70 series, I like to call them, 72, 75, what all them things were. We turned out more troops, we turned out more votes than any union in the coalition. And we stopped it. We beat them back and we whooped them. Yeah. Sent him back to Sacramento with his tail between his legs. I know he got one. So, when they tried to do voucher systems to privatize public schools, we beat them back, what, 2 or 3 times already, right? We keep winning the battle, but we're losing the war. We elect pro-labor legislators and pro-education, and we've had 3 budget cuts on education in the last 18 months. Almost $1 billion or $1 billion a month. Then the governor, the truthful soul that he is, somebody said, Allan, how you know when Arnold's lying? I said, his lips are moving. Said he's not going to cut education, and the very next day, $2.5 billion. And talks the political speak of public-private partnership. You know, that means contracting out your job, right? Usually when I want to convince a family member to vote in my favor, I will ask them when they're adding on to the house. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, if you vote for that voucher initiative, I got to move in because I ain't going to have a job. They get real serious about listening to you then. You know? That's kind of how it is. So, we're on a path to do something about it. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to endorse candidates who support us, and then once we get them elected, we're going to hold accountable. We've been falling down on the accountability part.